from a programmed timeline. That cover, which we just saw opening, opens up to allow the SSBUV instrument to view the Earth or Sun, as the case may be, and then closes to protect the instrument from contamination when it's not being used, and also during calibration periods. The other of the two canisters for SSBUV houses the command and power systems, and of course there's a communication cable linking the two. When the instrument is operating, as is now the case, light enters the instrument and travels through a system of mirrors and gratings to a photomultiplier, specialized type of a sensor. The photomultiplier converts sunlight into an electric current. That electric current is then amplified. The desired wavelength to be measured is selected by a grating, and a grating is simply an optical element that splits light up into its constituent wavelengths, somewhat akin to the way a prism does so, the way a prism creates a spectrum or a rainbow effect. Grating is what's typically used in this type of spectral measurement device. Getting a more detailed view of the instruments in the Atlas II complement of experiments now with a different camera angle and a closer look at the Spacelab palette on which the instruments are mounted. The most prominent items in this view being the dish antenna for the millimeter wave atmospheric sounder in the center upper portion of the screen. The center upper portion of the screen. This view being from the aft end of the cargo bay, and on the now moving to the center of the screen, we can see the ATMOS, or atmospheric trace molecule spectroscopy instrument. Box-like structure houses most of its elements. And we can look down at the pallet structure, basically a mounting platform that allows the various instruments to be firmly secured and integrated into a package before they're actually moved and installed into the cargo bay of the shuttle.
Bay. One of the cameras did catch what appears to be a little bit of multi-layer insulation that's separated from the aft bulkhead, and the Environmental and Consumables Officer reported that they were taping that, but it didn't look like it was going to pose any problem, as it looked like it had only separated just a little bit. But he is going to take a look at that, and some of the other flight controllers will take a look at what, if any, systems of theirs are behind that bulkhead of the aft portion of the orbiter. Tail of the orbiter toward the front closes in on the KU band antenna, the dish antenna, very similar to a satellite dish in a resident's backyard, sends data, voice, and television pictures to the ground. This dish antenna swings out away from the forward bulkhead of the orbiter shortly after launch, when the payload bay doors are opened, and remains deployed until the day of landing, and the satellite dish is then positioned inside the payload bay before the payload bay doors are closed.
Tim Miller, who will be briefing the crew aboard Discovery in a minute or two about activities that have been going on over the past 24 hours since its last update. And now watching that motorized pressurized door assembly or cover closing on the shuttle solar backscatter ultraviolet experiment as they wind up their observation of the direct incident light from the sun, and in preparation for Discovery's transition into the shadow portion of orbit 56.
Houston, it's getting to be that time of day again. Orbit 2 is going to take the rest of the afternoon and spend with our families. And we're turning over to Orbit 3. And like I said, when you guys are ready, Orbit 3 will handle then the mission science brief. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, Sam. Thanks a lot for the good work, and we will see you tomorrow.